I never wanted to be a mommy, part 1. I never wanted to be a mommy. I need to get something off my chest. I've been forgetful. It started small. I forgot where my toothbrush was. I figured it was stress. As a mother of 8, I'm used to taking care of everyone but myself. But it's gotten harder to ignore. I called my daughter by a different name. The worst part was wearing a smile and pretending I was joking for their sake. My burden, not theirs. The unspoken promise. If I wasn't Supermom, I was nothing. No matter what, I'm their mom. Then I started blacking out. I was cooking dinner and found myself halfway through a conversation I didn't remember starting. Foggy thoughts and a hollow vacancy, like half of me had been scooped out. It felt wrong. I felt wrong, like a stranger in my own body. Find out what happens next in part 2. I'm not feeling good became the norm. Better than I think I'm getting dementia. It started slowly, like cancer, but they noticed. Of course they did. I was suddenly forgetting their favorite meals. I presented Anastasia with peanut butter cookies. She was allergic. Then the paranoia set in. Their whispers felt personal, like it was about me. My babies would get this look, wobbling lips and teary eyes. Find out what happens next in part 3. But I was okay. I made an appointment with a neurologist at some point. Right? Hey mom? I blinked. Standing in front of me was my son. Adam? Adam's smile was strained. Mom, he said again, that's enough. I didn't realize I was still pouring milk into his cereal bowl, now overflowing. Instead of explaining, I grabbed a cloth, soaking up the mess. 8 pairs of wide eyes stared at me. I could barely piece together their names. I was acutely aware my nose was bleeding. Find out what happens next in part 4. Mommy? Anastasia leaned over the table to talk to her sisters, and something in me snapped. They were talking about me again. I slammed my fist down, heat rising in my cheeks. Fucking stop. I can hear you talking about me. Tears stung my eyes. I immediately regretted my words. Sorry, I whispered. Mommy is just tired. I sniffed, swiping at my face. I stepped toward the stairs, but my body was suddenly heavy. Words were suddenly so hard, harder than breathing. Mom? Adam's face blurred in front of me. His fingers tiptoed across my scalp, creeping down my neck. Mom? His voice was a low murmur. What's my name? Find out what happens next in part 5. I nodded dizzily. Ace, I whispered, stroking his hair. You're my son. Tears welled up. You're going to be okay, Mom, he said softly. I reached out to hug him, to hold him, but I wasn't expecting my arm to fall off. I thought I'd dropped something. But no, my right arm dropped to the floor with a sickening thud. I blinked and something dislodged. My eye popped out of my skull, hitting the floor and rolling under the table. I expected my son to start screaming. I was falling apart, but he just frowned. The new arms were a bad idea. Ace prodded my face, his fingers gripping my chin and forcing me to look at him. Whose fucking suggestion was it to add the arms? Find out what happens next in part 6. We found her in a garbage can. Zach spoke up. She needed new arms. How else was she going to cook? With a hiss, Ace turned back to me. Sorry. Mom, he smiled widely. 1 sec. I blacked out again. Find out what happens next in part 7. I opened my eyes to a low beeping sound. Ace sat cross-legged on the bed with me, a laptop on his knees. I was 8 when my parents died, he muttered, eyes glued to the screen. They called me a genius. I was supposed to start college at 9. He slammed the spacebar. But then the world ended. He looked up. Fucking bird flu decimated half of the population, and the rest lost their minds. My blurry vision caught on a figure lying next to me. A man. His brain was exposed, wires protruding from his skull. He was stitched like a doll, different shades and skin tones, replacing his arms and legs. Find out what happens next in part 8. But then we found you. Ace spoke up, and I turned. A woman. Dead. He smirked. Someone dumped your body in a trash can. We needed a mother, to stop us losing our humanity. Ace stood up, walked over to me, and pulled a needle from my arm. You didn't have a head. Someone probably ate it. No adults meant no food, so... He shook his head. Anyway, I gave you a new one. The rest of you was pretty intact, so I collected corpses, waved my magic wand, and Viola, you, his smile curdled. Find out what happens next in part 9. Anastasia cried for her mommy when we found her. I was just a kid. I wanted my own mom, but she saw me as like a father figure. He gestured to the man, so I got her one. He's a work in progress. We fished him out of a lake. Ace helped me sit up. Your memory lapses were due to your consciousness awakening. But it's okay, Mom. I fixed you. I nodded and left to resume making breakfast. Mommy? Anastasia sang. Are you feeling better? Of course, my love, I said. How many fucking people was I wearing? Whose head was stitched onto my flesh? Who was I? Find out what happens next in part 10. Yay! Anastasia giggled. I doused my children's cereal with Drano. Good morning, my little rascals. I froze. The man strode in wearing a confident grin, half of his brains hanging out. My children ran over to hug him. Daddy! He laughed and walked over to me, taking the bowl and dumping it. He stammered over his words. Let's give them something they'll really enjoy. He shot me a grin, handing me a small pill bottle. I took it. Dad winked, but his eyes were screaming. He grasped my hand so tight I actually felt real pain. Right, darling? Follow for more horror stories.